Welcome to Bloomington North Rotary on this June 24th, 2021. This is my last meeting as president. We'll be doing our changeover next week. I know all of you are as just excited for that as I am, so no, please hold your applause. Let's see, things we have coming up. Rotary International next year is going to be in Houston. I know my wife and I have already signed up for it. If you've ever thought about going to an international, this is the one to go. It's going to be one of the easiest to get to because it is here in the States. There's still going to be probably about 25 to 35,000 Rotarians from around the world. And it is an absolutely wonderful event to meet with all kinds of amazing people from around the world. This will be my 5th or 6th time attending. And definitely every time it's in the States or Canada, we go, and occasionally overseas. Highly recommend going to that. Other things coming on. If you haven't marked your dates already, do mark your dates for, and Jody, you can help remind me here. I want to say it's November 5th. Is that right this year? That is the Rotary Toast of Bloomington. So that's going to be all 3 clubs, and we're going to be honoring Charlotte Zitlow. Did I get her name right? Zitlow. There we go. I'll get it eventually. So if she watches this later, I'll pay for it. And so we're going to be honoring her this year. It should be a wonderful presentation. In fact, our very own Tim Ellis is going to be, I believe, one of the speakers. I'm sorry if I'm misspeaking there. And so, and I believe we're going to be doing that in person. Wonderful. Do you know the pricing yet, Jody?
So we are in person. Ivy Tech just gave us permission to go full open. So we can, their venue will hold as many as 400 people. Pricing will return to previous pre-COVID pricing. So we have a diamond level sponsorship at $10,000, a platinum level sponsorship at $5,000 for a table, gold level at $2,000, blue level at $1,250, Friends of Charlotte for $250 for 2 tickets. Individual tickets will be $100 in person. There will be a $100 virtual sponsorship for people who want to pay the price of a ticket but will be attending virtually. We will have a virtual component to this, and a $25 view only ticket. So we're going to be, the committee just met last night and moving forward with getting our PR materials out and things. So we'll have brochures and such very, very soon. And her charity for this year, half of the proceeds will go to Habitat for Humanity of Monroe County.
Wonderful. And it is a black tie fair. It is the event to go to. So highly recommend attending. Jody, you can put my wife and I down for a gold table. And yeah, great event. So definitely mark your calendars for it. And with that, I'm going to let Gabe, if you'd like to introduce our speaker today.
Yeah, I will. I just wanted to say on a personal note, it's great to see Stephanie Shelton, who I got to work with in her efforts with the Art of Chocolate. And she reached out and I was excited to hear about this kind of latest chapter in her life. And she's brought the CEO of Cancer Support Community Central of Indiana, Eric Richards. They're going to talk about the Cancer Support Community, which is a non-for-profit organization that provides services and resources at no cost to cancer patients and their families. And they have the mission to ensure that all people impacted by cancer are empowered by knowledge, strengthened by actions, and sustained by a community, so that nobody faces cancer alone. So I did read that a bit verbatim, but I'm thrilled to have both of you here today. And as I said, I had my own brush with cancer this past year, and so I'm keenly interested in what you have to talk about. So without further ado, Eric.
Thanks, Gabe. I really appreciate it. And Stephanie's my color here today, and she'll help fill in anything I might have missed. But it's a privilege to be here. I'm a Rotarian myself. I was the charter president of the Indianapolis Metropolitan Rotary Club, and was also assistant district governor for 6560 for 3 years prior to the little ones coming along. Step back a little bit on some of that. My father is a former district governor of your district from the Franklin Club. So I have eaten, breathed, lived Rotary since I was about 12 years old, whether that be tagging along with my dad and my mom to some event or being a member myself. So it's always a privilege to meet fellow Rotarians and appreciate the opportunity to be there today. As Gabe said, I'm Eric Richards and I'm the CEO of Cancer Support Community Central Indiana. And as he said, we are a nonprofit that offers free, I always want to underline that, free support services for cancer patients and their families. And that's important to note too. And obviously, cancer patients need resources, but we also know that caregivers, spouses, children whose parent might get a cancer diagnosis may also need some support. So we're going to be there for them as well. We're 26 years old in 2021. Currently, I'm sitting in our headquarters building on the northwest side of Indianapolis. If you're familiar with 465, we're at the 71st Street exit and Zionsville Road, across from Pike Community School Corporation. If you've been up on this side of town, we've been in this space in this building for 13 years, providing free resources for cancer patients and their families. About 3 years ago, I want to tell a little bit of the story about why we're talking to you today. About 3 years ago, we were approached by the Bloomington Health Foundation. They had done a needs assessment in the community and it had identified the fact that there was a gap in resources for cancer patients and their families, specifically with support services not related to traditional cancer treatment. So things like chemo, radiation, surgeries, et cetera. There were a few things that were being offered at the Alcott Center. It was mainly centered around breast cancer at the time. And so thus started a discussion about Cancer Support Community creating an office that would serve the South Central region of the state. And so earlier this year, that if you saw in the paper, we were awarded a startup grant to provide the services that we've been providing for 26 years in the Bloomington and surrounding areas. And with those dollars, we brought on Stephanie Shelton, who's on the call today, as well as Katie Tremmel. And Katie is a licensed clinical social worker. We stole her from IU Health, but she's the one that is overseeing the implementation of the actual programs and services that we have to offer. So I'll come back to that in a little bit after we go through a presentation here and give you a little bit better idea of what we offer. And when you say support services, what does that mean? So if you bear with me, I will do my best to share my screen. Can you see that okay?
Yes, we can see it fine.
All right, great. So if you see us, you're going to see this is our logo. We want you to recognize that and hopefully see it all over town at some point as we move forward with our existence in the space. So this is the building I'm sitting in right now on the northwest side of town. We envision a similar building in the Bloomington area within the next 12 months. It may not be this grand originally. We may have a 3 to 5 year home, but what we want to do is have a space, a bricks and mortar where people can come and identify with who we are and what we do, and that they can find a resource in us. We have what we talk about, sort of 5 pillars of focus. The first one is psychosocial programming, and a couple of examples of what that means. That's support groups. That's individual counseling, that's art therapy, and that's virtual services. And the programming helps to fight isolation, which is one of the leading complaints given by cancer patients and their caregivers. It lowers depression, fatigue, confusion, mood disturbances, and enhances quality of life, instilling hope, and strengthening the will to live and improve relationships with loved ones and family members. Believe it or not, we get a lot of calls from people who were just going to give up. And for obvious reasons, it's facing cancer. If you know anyone who has or have yourself, the stresses that come along with the cancer diagnosis. And so we're really here to provide a safe space for them to talk with others who are experiencing the same trials and tribulations they are. I would say that of all the programs that we offer, we're probably known most for our support group offerings and most for our individual counseling offerings. We offer support groups for cancer specific types, for gender, really cultural significance, diversity, all sorts of different programs like that. Just so we're meeting the need for individuals who need certain things. The next pillar is educational programming. A couple of the examples of what we're talking about here, sort of Cancer 101, Ask the Legal Expert, pain and symptom management. This past Monday, we're actually celebrating Survivors Week this week with a slew of programs every day during the week. We had an IU Health doc who is a head and neck surgeon who is using the latest and greatest in robotics for that particular type of cancer to help cure people. It was fascinating. Immunotherapies, really what people want, what they want to know about. There's a lot of bad information on the internet, and we're trying to make it more clear for people. We usually bring in, doctors and medical professionals who we work with, partners, to help us facilitate those educational programs. Our third pillar, wellness programs. So some examples of that. Cooking for Wellness is an extremely popular program for us. We had a cooking class on Monday. As a matter of fact, creative expressions, yoga, massage, Reiki, Tai Chi, relaxation, and visualization. It's all very, very popular, as you might imagine. Fourth is social connection. Those things that allow people to come, but maybe not in a support group setting. Not everyone wants to go to a support group or have counseling. So we offer other things that allow people to be around others who are experiencing the same things they are, such as Crafters Corner, book clubs, movie clubs. We've done swing dancing. We've done drum circles. Healing Portraits is a free family portrait session for any of our people, which is really great. Painting with watercolors as examples of the things that we offer. Think of us as a community center for people impacted by cancer. And then finally, information assistance and referral. We know that we don't offer every resource a cancer patient and their family members may need. So we need to be experts on who does and link people with other resources that are available, both here locally, but then on national level too. And another addition that doesn't sort of fit within within those 5 pillars that we've added in the last years, we've identified a need that was already in existence, and that is with just basic needs support specific to cancer patients who are undergoing treatment. So we developed a patient assistance fund in 2020 to provide Kroger gift cards and Speedway gas cards to those undergoing treatment, living at 300% of poverty or below. And it's available for Monroe and Bloomington, Monroe County and Bloomington, as well as the rest of the South Central region, just as a side note. I've already alluded to this, but thanks to the partnership with the Bloomington Health Foundation and IU Health Bloomington, we are currently working out of the Alcott Center. So you might be asking yourselves, for those of you who are familiar with the Alcott Center, which I'm assuming it seems like everybody that I've met in the area knows the Alcott Center. Mrs. Alcott gave a significant donation back in the day to provide nurse navigation at Bloomington Hospital. And over the years, they started adding other support services, such as the massage therapy, Reiki, support groups, et cetera. And so with our coming into the community, well, we have a MOU with IU Health to take over anything that they were doing so that they can focus on, in the new hospital, so they can focus on nurse navigation and go back to the original intent of the Alcott gift. So anything they were doing is now in the hands of Cancer Support Community South Central Indiana. So we're currently through April 1st of 2022 working out of the Alcott Center, providing programs and services, which currently include individual counseling, support groups, massage therapy, Reiki, and virtual programming. And that's been offered since last August, as a matter of fact. As we all have had to pivot which is one of the, I'm sure it's going to be one of the most used words of the last 12 months. We pivoted to a virtual environment. We didn't miss a beat, and we were able to serve twice as many people than our record-breaking 2019 and 2020, because we sort of lifted the veil on any geographic limitations, transportation barriers to folks, so that they could, access the services, our full slate of services, from the comfort of their living room, all free. I can continue to bring that up, free. And we do that through fundraising, of course. And I mentioned to some of you who are on the line, you see the folks, the comedians behind me. We do a big event here in Indianapolis called Laughing Matters, where we bring in a nationally known comedian to raise dollars for our services and programs. And so that's the same thing that, and that transitions into the next part of our conversation this afternoon. And that is as part of the other sort of a second part of the agreement with the Bloomington Health Foundation. Cancer Support Community has been licensed Hoosiers Outrun Cancer. And I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have either know about it or have participated. I had the privilege and honor of being a part of it in 2019 to really see the ins and outs of the event. And it is truly a community-wide event. Families, it's fantastic. For those of you who have not had a chance to participate in that, I strongly encourage you to join us on Saturday, September 25th. But we are now overseeing Hoosiers Outrun Cancer along with the long-standing committee of volunteers. I've said this a million times, but our number one goal is to not screw it up. So we're listening and relying on the folks that have been part of this for a number of years to make sure that it continues to be successful. And then all the proceeds from Hoosiers Outrun Cancer are going to go into subsequent years of providing us the support that we need to provide the free services that we provide to cancer patients and their family members and caregivers. So now there's a sort of a direct, I think, correlation between, okay, I'm participating in this event and these funds are going to support this organization that's providing free services. I mentioned a building. One of our big goals is to have a physical presence there, make sure people see us. Alcott Center is going away, so that's not a permanent solution for us. And so we're actually currently looking at spaces to build out. And like I mentioned before, probably not 8,500 square feet like we have now, but maybe a suitable location for 3 to 5 years. And then we can look at hopefully, building relationships with folks in town, and obviously, raising dollars needed to maybe potentially build a space for us. Our space here, if you were able to see it, it's very welcoming. If some of you have been to the hospice house in Bloomington or have seen it, it's a little bit like that. It's a home-like environment. Our support group rooms look like your living room. It's all about comfort and making sure when people walk in the front door, they feel at home and they feel comfortable. And that's the kind of space that we want to look at for long term. But we're beyond thrilled and honored to be able to serve an entirely new region of the state, eventually long term. In addition to a building, we want to have more of a physical presence in communities outside of Bloomington. So whether that's Bedford, Paoli, we want to be providing, going where people are, meeting them where they are. We will continue a hybrid model because we know that people will continue to utilize our services in a virtual format. And so, we're excited about that. A lot of interesting, as we all have done with technology, but upgraded and et cetera. So we're doing that right now as we begin to welcome people back into our building, starting in August. So we're, like I said, we're beyond thrilled to be in the community, and we are doing the rounds, making the tour, meeting with as many people as we can. I think Stephanie and I have had more than 30 meetings with supporters of Hoosiers Outrun Cancer up until this point. Outside of today, I've been in Bloomington almost every Thursday. meeting with folks in person. Stephanie has been as well. We're thrilled to have Stephanie and someone in the community who is so well connected to be boots on the ground. It was important for us to know for people to know a couple things. One, that we have staff in the community that live and breathe and have families in the community. And then two, that all funds raised stay in the community to help local people in the region. So money's not coming to Indianapolis so we can serve somebody in Lafayette. It's staying in South Central region to help South Central community members. And that's one of the main points that we've been trying to make, as I mentioned. Stephanie, did I leave out anything that you think that the group may want to know more about? Or
honestly, like I've heard this a lot, so I feel like you did a great job covering everything. But I would like everyone to know that I'm here and I want to get out and meet people and share this story in as many places as I can. So if anyone is interested in sharing this presentation again with maybe employees at your business or another club or organization that you're involved in, I'd be happy to do that at any time. So just please reach out to me. I can put my contact information in the chat as well.
And Stephanie brings up a good point too, that if you're a business owner or part of a business, we would love to talk to your HR departments as a community benefit, as a corporate benefit. Anybody that's impacted by cancer can access our services for free, and we just want to make sure people are aware that we're here. It takes time to build a reputation and awareness, and again, we're trying to get out as much as we can to meet with folks like you, to tell our story, and make sure that you know that we're here. Can I answer any questions about anything that we've talked about up to this point?
Go ahead, Jody.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I have already registered our team as the team captain for HOC. My mom is this month a 7-year ovarian cancer survivor. And our team name is Stash Power in honor of the doctor on the call who got her there. So if you want to join a team, feel free to join Stash Power, and we make it an entire day. We set up and have breakfast early, and then everybody does their walk. We're all past running these days. Everybody does their walk, and then we go out to my parents' home in the country, and we have a hootenanny. We play cornhole, we play euchre, we have a fire pit. We've had live bands before. We party all day. So everybody's welcome. Check it out. It's a great event. My husband and I, back in the days when we ran, we've never missed a HOC since we've lived in town. So it's really fun and a great way to build community. And I'm really glad that this is happening, because my background is as an oncology nurse when I was in clinical medicine, and there were certain, and it was nobody's fault, but there were definitely certain gaps at the Alcott Center in terms of just resources and what they were able to provide for our folks and for the community. So I'm really glad that this is getting a little more infrastructure for that.
Well, you're a big part of that for participating in HOC all these years, because these funds came from the proceeds from the event. So thank you. And Dr. Dayton, you're an oncologist. I saw your name tag. I was trying to see if it was IU Health Bloomington, but it seems like that's the case, and that's a great connection to know. And congratulations to your mom. Ovarian is, that's you see Gilda Radner behind me. She utilized cancer support community in Los Angeles during her battle with ovarian cancer in the 80s and 90s. So.
Eric, I've got a question. In providing resources and support, is there anything that surprised you where you go, well, I didn't really think that would fall under my purview, but ...
In terms of my role or the organization?
I guess in terms of the organization.
If you have mental health challenges prior to a cancer diagnosis, or you have marriage issues prior to a cancer diagnosis can really throw a wrench into those issues and exacerbate struggling for individuals. And so our counseling, a lot of times, I would say almost over 50% is actually marriage counseling, which was surprising before I took on the role and came in to see, sort of how it operates. I've been with cancer support community for 7 years in this role. I was with another local cancer organization for 5 years prior to that. So it was surprising to me because I'd not experienced it personally at the time. I've since been a caregiver for my wife, ironically, but seeing sort of the challenges that people continue to have on top of the cancer diagnosis. So it's more than life, right? It's more than just the diagnosis. It's about everything else that goes into each of us as an individual. Yeah, Jody.
I actually do have a question. So do you, I know one of the things, and this was something that I don't think people think about a lot, but one of the things that we found was actually people struggling with survivorship. Do you offer survivorship support? So many times I would have a patient, they get a cancer diagnosis and they're so focused on, biopsy results, staging, chemotherapy, radiation, appointments, blah, blah, blah. And it just kind of overtakes their life for that 6 to 12-month window of time. And then, they get a clean bill of health. They have no evidence of disease. Their chance of living cancer-free is, quite high moving forward based on their disease. And then that anxiety sets in and really struggling with survivorship. Like, what do I do now? And every little headache, every little knee pain, it's like, nope,
Yep.
people
Fear.
get headaches. You had headaches before cancer, you'll have
Yep.
headaches after cancer, but it was surprising to me sometimes who was impacted that way. You had people who were just like clean bill of health, getting out there, not thinking about it again. And then you had people who just really got stuck in survivorship.
Yeah, it's a major issue. So we always talk about before, through, and beyond is where we play a role, which is me in every stage of a person's cancer journey. And I know for a fact that the larger percentage of people we serve are actually the survivors. They're not the people. When we find oftentimes the people are in treatment, to your point, they're so into that, trying to get better and everything that goes along, medical appointments and side effect management and everything else that goes along, that they're not thinking about it. And then all of a sudden you turn around and no one's behind you anymore. And the anxiety and the fear of recurrence and everything else that comes along with survivorships.
The panic of not being in the office every 2 weeks. The first time Dr. Dayton says, I'll see you in 3 months. What am I going to do for 3 months, or that kind of like feeling like that lifeline with the medical team is kind of cut.
That's exactly why we were here, why we're here. And because there are other people who are just like your mom, who are in the same stage, who can talk each other through, or if they need professional help. All of our support groups and counseling sessions are run by licensed mental health professionals who are trained in oncology mental health counseling. So this isn't, not that other mental health counselors, et cetera, can't help a cancer patient, but we're specifically trained to support oncology patients. And again, it's the caregivers too, because you all caregivers experience a level of trauma as well. That's different. And we want to put you around other caregivers who maybe they're a year past where you are, and they can talk about what they've done over the past year to cope. All of a sudden their loved one doesn't need them as much, and that can it can be stressful for people. And they want to talk to somebody. So that's exactly why we're here. And in particular, in the survivorship mode, it's important for us to make sure people know that, and that we're here for them as a resource. And we're small now. I get that. We have 17 full-time staff members up here, and 35 1099 contract employees that we work with, massage therapists, counselors, et cetera. And the goal is to build up our presence in the South Central region. where we have 5, 10, 15 staff members, and we're able to offer services and programs to as many people as need and want it. So hopefully, we're not going to be at 2 for very much longer, and hopefully continue to, to grow it.
I would point out that I do try to tell patients they're not banned from the clinic for 3 months. They, if they have a problem, they can call us. But the trauma is there for a lot of people.
Yeah, hi,
Go
Charlie.
ahead, Charlie.
How do you receive your funding, or
So there's really 4 ways currently. Corporate giving, of course, foundation giving, so grants, individual contributions, and one of the business development focuses that we've had up here that I've specifically have my hands in and been involved with is contractual services. So as an example, we provide all the support services, which is what we offer here at our building, at all the community health network locations in their network. So that's Kokomo, Anderson, North, East, and South. So we have some semblance of the work that we do in our building here in those locations, and they pay us to do that. So that's a newer revenue source for us. But those are really the 4 ways, and they're really spread almost 25, 25, 25, and 25, which is great in a lot of ways. We always want more, obviously, because we need to help as many people as we can, and we can only do that and provide it for free with the support of the community. Not much different than the Rotary Foundation, right? It's you all know about that.
as a side note, I was an assistant district governor with your dad.
Oh,
Wasn't he the district treasurer for a while, or?
yes, he did a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so I had a few meetings with him as well. So
Okay, small
he's a
world.
great guy.
All right. Well, I want to thank you, Eric, for coming and speaking today. Does anybody else have any other questions?
It's fantastic to meet you all. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity for Stephanie and I to join you today and to talk more. I hope I get to meet you all in person sometime. I'll try to come to a meeting since they're on Thursdays at noon. I'll be down there. And as a matter of fact, I should make it a point to do that once you all go back to in person.
Yeah, we're hoping to do that sometime in July or August at the latest. So we will certainly keep you posted on when we do. We used to meet at the Tutor Room. Don't know where it'll be in the future. We're talking to a few different places right now, but we'd love to have you visiting or whatever. So
Sounds great.
thanks, Eric.
Stephanie, are you in Bloomington?
Yes, I live in Bloomington. In fact, I worked at Life Designs for the last approximately 7 years, nearly 7 years. And before that, I worked at Smithfield Communications. So I've been involved in the community for a long time here.
Well, we've got a spot in Rotary for you.
I would love to look at that and get started.
Okay, great.
I've encouraged her.
Before we wrap up, Brian, I want to congratulate you on the conclusion of your 2nd year as club president. Brian stepped up and filled in a gap that we just could not fill. So congratulations, man. And we could not have done it without you, that's for sure.
Thank you. I'm fully anticipating Joe will be there next week because Joe's taking over.
Joe Fuchetto's taking over, and yeah, nothing but smooth transitions from here on out, right?
That's the plan. That's the plan. And we're working on the year after that. So.
Yep. Very good. Very good.
Yes, I'd like to extend the invitation that Charlie did to you also, Stephanie. If you'd like to come and learn more about us or see some of our future speakers, you're welcome anytime. We'd love to have you. And I think you probably know Russ then, since you used to work at Life Design. So because Life Design is a corporate member here. So we would love to have you, or if CSC wants to join as an organization, have that. So but thank you all.
Yeah, the newfangled Rotary has that kind of thing now, right?
Yeah.
Don't worry,
awesome.
we'll be in touch with you about that.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah, you'll hear from us.
I expect it.
Very good. All right. Personally, I need to jump off. So it was great to see you all, and Eric, great to hear from you, and Stephanie, always great to see you. And yeah, I look forward to being in touch.
All right. Well, everyone have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.